You're watching Forsaken Joe. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy the story. Let's begin. I walked in the front door with one arm hooked around a paper bag from La Rosa's and the other carrying my backpack, tired as hell and ready to crash in front of the TV. The smell of garlic and marinara steamed through the bag, and honestly, that's the only thing I'd looked forward to all damn day. Erin was already in the kitchen, rinsing a glass in the sink. No music playing, no TV on, just the hum of the fridge and the water running. She didn't turn around when I came in. I kicked off my shoes by the door, dropped my bag on the floor. Got your usual, chicken parm? You want me to grab plates? She shut off the faucet, dried her hands slow. Still facing the sink, she said, I don't think we should be married anymore. I stood there like someone had slammed a frying pan across my face. She finally turned around, calm as ever. No tears, no trembling, just done. Quick note, before we get into it, let us know where you're watching from. What? I asked. My voice didn't even sound like mine. You're serious? I am. I've been thinking about it for a while, she said, folding the dish towel. It's not working, Tom. You know it. She didn't yell, didn't look angry. She looked like someone reading the weather, just matter of fact. I didn't say anything back. I couldn't. My hands still clutched the takeout bag, now tilted sideways, grease soaking through. I set it down on the counter like it was fragile. She leaned against the island, arms crossed. I think it's best for both of us. I don't hate you. I'm not in this anymore. My mind's made up. There was a ringing in my ears. I didn't yell or plead. I just stood there, my head spinning, mouth dry. My heart wasn't racing. It was heavy, like it had sunk straight to the floor. I stared at her, looking for a crack. Some sign she didn't mean it, but she was steady, controlled. I nodded, just once. No words. The silence stretched. Not awkward, heavy, like the room had thickened with cement. I finally turned, walked past the couch, down the hall, and opened the guest room door. It smelled like dust and old carpet. I stepped inside and shut the door behind me. I lay on top of the guest bed comforter, fully dressed, eyes open in the dark. The ceiling fan ticked with every slow rotation, like it was mocking me. I didn't sleep. I didn't even try. Just stared at the ceiling and tried to figure out what the hell had just happened. There was no fight, no warning. 1 second I was holding takeout, the next I was standing in the ruins of a 10-year marriage. At some point, the light outside started to shift blue. Morning. I heard Erin's footsteps upstairs. The coffee grinder buzzed. Cupboards opened, closed, like it was any other day. I didn't move for a long time. I finally sat up when I heard the beep of the fridge. She was probably making her usual smoothie. Banana, peanut butter, almond milk, some shit she started doing after turning 34. I dragged myself to the bathroom, splashed water on my face, and looked in the mirror. I looked like someone who just lost a fight they didn't know they were in. Still didn't feel real. I dried off with a hand towel and walked out barefoot. When I stepped into the kitchen, Erin was already dressed for work. Black slacks, gray blouse, hair pinned up. She glanced at me, then pointed at the counter. There's coffee, she said. Then she slid a slim blue folder toward me, like she was handing off a work report. I put together some things for the split. Just ideas, nothing final. I stared at it. You did this already? I've been planning it for a while, she said, not looking up as she took a sip from her travel mug. I didn't touch the folder. I just stood there, thinking how quiet her voice was. Not cold, not mean. Just like she'd already accepted it, filed it, and moved on. I didn't recognize her at all. What's in it? I asked, even though I already knew. Timeline for packing, who gets what, stuff about the accounts, she said, walking around the counter. It's all in there? I nodded slowly. You really just decided this without even talking to me? I've talked to you, she said, grabbing her purse. You just didn't hear it. She walked toward the door, keys in hand. No hug, no goodbye, just a calm, clean exit. The door clicked shut behind her, and I finally picked up the folder. Her handwriting was all over the first page. Organized bullet points, neat lines, dates, boxes to check off. She even color-coded it. I sat at the table and flipped through it. She had a plan for every drawer, every shelf, every closet, who would take the plates, who got the TV, what day I should start packing the garage. I saw my name next to the tool set and the guest bed. That was it. I closed it, pressed my palms against the cool surface of the table. No part of me knew what to say, so I said nothing. That's how the rest of the week went. We moved around each other like ghosts. She cooked dinner one night, chicken stir-fry, offered me a plate. I took it. We ate in silence, across from each other, chewing and swallowing like co-workers in a break room. I didn't ask her why. I didn't ask who, if there was someone else. I could feel there was, but I didn't push. I just kept watching her. She was too calm, too composed. You don't get like that unless you've already rehearsed it. A couple nights later, I stood in the bedroom doorway while she scrolled through her phone on the couch. "I'll start packing up the garage tomorrow," I said. She looked up, blinked, and nodded. "Okay, thanks." That was it. No questions, no emotion, just confirmation. I turned and walked back to the guest room. I still didn't have answers, but I was starting to see something more clearly. I wasn't going to grovel or plead or chase, not with someone who'd already decided I was out of her life. If she wanted silence, I'd give her silence, but I'd be watching everything. The next morning, I sat on the edge of the guest bed, lacing up my boots, listening. Erin was upstairs, blow-drying her hair. 7:42. On the dot, same as yesterday. Same as the day before. I started noticing everything. She left at 8:13 every morning. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Pilates. She even had the tote bag with the matching mat. Tuesdays and Thursdays were client meetings, usually late, but her perfume hit harder those nights. Hair curled, nails done. Not how you prep for a spreadsheet review. She moved with a purpose that didn't include me. It was like she was already living a new life, just still using our house as a base camp. I didn't ask questions. I didn't touch her phone. I just watched. One night after she said she had a late dinner with a vendor, I waited till she left, then went straight to the kitchen. I pulled the trash bin out from under the sink and started sorting through it like a raccoon. Receipts, napkins, empty kombucha bottle, but nothing useful. No hotel receipts, no strange names, not even a phone number scribbled on a napkin. Just clean garbage. I dumped the bag onto the floor and dug deeper. Still nothing. She was careful, too careful. I cleaned up before she got back and sat in the living room, pretending to read a hardware catalog. She walked in around 10:30, gave me a short nod, and disappeared upstairs. Not a trace of guilt on her face. No panic. Just pure, rehearsed ease. The next day, while she was out, I tried again. This time, the home office. Erin didn't let me in there much. She said it was her space, which I never questioned before. Now I was questioning everything. I opened the bottom drawer of the file cabinet. Legal pads, old tax folders, a couple receipts from a business trip to San Diego, 3 years ago. Nothing new. I checked the desk drawers. Flash drives, paper clips, sticky notes. Then I saw it. A worn leather-bound planner jammed behind a stack of binders. I pulled it out and flipped through. It was from last year. Most of the pages were filled with meetings, deadlines, reminders. Then I hit November, the 14th. Circled in red, dinner at Greenhouse, 7:30, don't be late. I stared at the name. The Greenhouse was a small restaurant downtown, not somewhere we ever went, too expensive, too trendy. Definitely not a spot for client dinners. No initials, no name, just the one note, and nothing on the days around it. I flipped to the week before, nothing. Week after, blank. It stood out. Like a single scream in a room full of whispers. I tucked the planner under my arm, walked back to the guest room, and hid it in my toolbox, buried under some old screwdrivers and a roll of duct tape. That night, Erin came home early and microwaved leftovers. She didn't speak more than a sentence to me. "You starting on the garage tomorrow?" "Yeah," I said, not looking up from the TV. "First thing?" "Okay, just label the boxes." She left the room. She didn't ask what I did all day. Didn't notice the files out of order in the office. Didn't say a thing about the trash being half full again. She wasn't suspicious. She was confident. And that bothered me more than anything. Someone had her attention. And she thought I'd never figure it out. But I was figuring it out. One detail at a time. And I wasn't going to let it slip by. The next Thursday, Erin came down the stairs in a black wrap dress I hadn't seen before. Subtle makeup, gold earrings, that faint perfume she only wore on client dinners. "Big meeting?" I asked, leaning against the kitchen doorway. "Networking thing, a couple people from corporate," she said, without looking up from her phone. What time you back? Late. Don't wait up. She grabbed her purse and walked out like it was just another Tuesday. 10 minutes later, I followed. I stayed 2 cars behind her all the way down E71. She didn't drive like someone trying to hide something. No weird turns, no doubling back. She was confident. That confidence made me more certain. She pulled into the parking lot of the Thomaston Hotel, a boutique place tucked behind an art gallery downtown. Not exactly the kind of spot you grab drinks with coworkers. I parked a block over and walked in through the side entrance. The lobby bar had dim lighting, floor-to-ceiling windows, and a row of brown leather booths tucked against the far wall. I spotted her in the third one. She was already sitting with someone. Tall guy, mid-40s, button-down shirt with the sleeves rolled up, no tie. He leaned in close, smiling like he'd been there before. She laughed at something he said and touched his wrist. Not in a dramatic way, just casual, intimate. That was enough. I didn't get closer, didn't need to hear a word. I turned, walked out, and headed straight home. Later that night, while she was in the shower, I went back to the kitchen trash. I'd emptied it that morning, so anything in there now had to be from her evening. And there it was, a folded receipt from the Thomaston's bar. 2 drinks, 1 appetizer, time-stamped 7:47 p.m. Same place as the dinner marked in her old planner. I flattened it out, took a photo, then slipped it into my toolbox under the planner. Another piece. She came down to the kitchen 20 minutes later in sweatpants and a messy bun, like nothing happened. How was it? I asked. Boring, she said. Same corporate fluff as always. I nodded, opened the fridge, and grabbed a beer. Didn't say another word. After that night, she got more careful. She never left her phone out of arm's reach. I'd walk into a room, and she'd flip it over or lock it instantly. Started taking calls outside or in the upstairs hallway with the door shut. She still moved like she didn't care about me, but her eyes would flick toward me more often, watching, waiting. Like she knew something was off but couldn't name it. I started seeing it in the little things. She triple-checked the front door lock before bed. She asked if I was still planning to move out next month, twice in 1 week. She wiped her fingerprints off the microwave handle. Seriously, she wasn't guilty. She was scared. Not of me, of exposure. But I wasn't going to blow it with a yelling match or some emotional plea. I wasn't stupid. She had a head start, but I was closing the gap. And when it came time, I'd need more than proof. I'd need control. That weekend, Erin swapped out her phone. New iPhone, fresh case, same smug smile when the store clerk handed it to her. Back home, I noticed she tossed the old one in the junk drawer. Just slid it in there between some expired coupons and dead batteries like it didn't hold a damn vault of secrets. That night, while she was asleep upstairs, I slipped into the kitchen and opened the drawer. It powered on. No password. Either she forgot to wipe it, or she didn't think I'd ever look. Either way, it was wide open, and I wasn't wasting the chance. Her texts were already cleared. No photos. Apps still logged in. I clicked into Venmo. That's where everything unraveled. There were payments going back months. The name on most of them was Mark D. Each one vague enough to seem innocent. Thanks, dinner, your turn, LOL. But the dates hit hard. One was the same night she told me she had a conference call and stayed late at the office. Another matched the night I followed her to the hotel bar. $75 here, 48 there. Once, 120 with a champagne emoji in the caption. I felt my hands tighten on the phone. Jaw clenched so hard it hurt. I wanted to storm upstairs, shove the screen in her face, and ask her how long she'd been lying to me in my own house. But I didn't. I grabbed the planner from my toolbox and started matching dates. Every one of those Venmo payments lined up with nights she was working late or with clients. It wasn't random, it was deliberate, covered, tracked. Like she thought she was playing chess while I was still learning the rules. I sat there in the dim kitchen light, staring at that screen. The weight of everything pressing down on me. Not just the cheating, the planning, the structure. She built her lie on top of the life I helped build with her. But I didn't throw the phone or punch a wall. I needed more than anger. I needed control. The next morning, she came down the stairs, sipping coffee and checking the weather app. Garage packed up yet? She asked. Almost, I said, buttering toast. She sat down across from me, like nothing was off. No guilt, no awareness. I watched her scroll through her new phone, smiling at something. Everything okay with your new one? Yeah, just getting used to it. I nodded and handed her the jelly. Good. That was it. That's all I gave her. But in my head, I was building something bigger, something that would leave her standing in the mess she made. The following Monday, Erin left for work early, said she had a breakfast meeting near downtown. I watched her back out of the driveway, waited 2 full minutes, then walked upstairs. She'd left her work laptop open on the desk, charger still plugged in. Normally, she shut it tight, password protected. But today, open. Maybe she thought I'd already given up. Maybe she thought I'd stopped caring. I clicked into her Outlook. Most of it was what you'd expect: project updates, company-wide memos, calendar invites. But then I spotted a folder buried under her personal tags. Archived, private, not even subtle. Inside were 15 emails, all between her and someone named Mark Davis. The first one I opened hit like a punch to the throat. Sometimes I wonder if I ever really loved him. I think I just got used to the version of me he wanted. The rest unraveled from there. She told him things I didn't even know she felt. How she felt invisible. How she felt trapped in the routine. How he made her feel seen again. Every damn cliche you'd expect from a bored spouse looking for validation. You actually listen, Mark. You notice me. He hasn't looked at me the way you do in years. She sent him screenshots of recipes she wanted to cook for next time. She mentioned weekends she wanted to spend with him once the divorce was finalized. She called him M like it was some pet name. The affair wasn't just physical, it was emotional. And that made it worse. Way worse. I sat back in the chair, staring at the screen, heart thudding. Not because I was surprised, because I finally knew the whole picture. There was no gray area left, no more guessing. I didn't print anything, didn't forward it. Just read them all one by one until I knew exactly what I was dealing with. Then I closed the laptop and walked downstairs. I didn't eat that morning. I didn't need to. I was full of something else. Quiet rage, disappointment, the kind of pain that didn't shake or cry, the kind that plans. I didn't want to scream. I wanted her to feel the silence closing in. That week, I started making quiet moves. First was the anonymous email. I used a burner address to forward one of Erin's less explicit messages to her coworker Kelsey. No subject, no context. Just the text and a timestamp. I knew they gossiped. I knew it would spread. Then I dropped a name. I ran into Erin's friend Sadie at the grocery store. She asked how things were going. I kept it casual. Guess I wasn't exciting enough for her. I hear Mark is. Her face went stiff. Mark who? I shrugged. No idea. I'm just the guy packing up the garage. I left without saying another word. From there, I waited. 3 days later, I saw Erin pacing the kitchen with her phone to her ear, voice tight, eyes darting. She kept checking the front window, like something might show up she wasn't ready for. Her calm had cracked. I'd found the seam and started pulling. But I didn't taunt her, didn't hint I knew. I made breakfast like usual, took out the trash, paid my half of the cable bill. She could keep playing her game. I was playing mine better. Erin was jumpy the next morning. I came into the kitchen and found her standing at the island, phone clutched in one hand, coffee untouched. She didn't look up when I walked in. You okay? I asked, opening the fridge. Fine, just a lot going on at work. She stirred her coffee but didn't drink it. Her eyes kept flicking down to the screen like she was waiting for something. I didn't say anything else, just cracked eggs into the skillet and started cooking. By the time I sat down with my plate, she was still standing there, frozen, barely blinking. The phone finally rang. She turned away from me, answered with a fake cheerful, "Hi, Mom." I couldn't hear the other side, but her body language told the whole story. Shoulders tightened, mouth clenched. She didn't interrupt once. After a minute, her tone dropped. I don't know where you're getting that from. Pause. No, I didn't say that. That's not what's happening. She walked out of the kitchen fast, heading upstairs mid-call. I let the eggs burn while I listened to her pace the bedroom. Her mother knew that wasn't just a crack in her armor. It was a fault line. Later that day, I came home from the hardware store and found Erin reorganizing the living room. Couch pushed forward, rug turned sideways, bookshelf cleared off. She looked up, surprised to see me. I thought the new tenant might want the place more neutral, she said quickly. Sure. She nodded too many times, then turned back to the bookshelf like she had something to prove. That night, she wiped down the counters 3 times in 20 minutes, kept checking the locks, walked past the same drawer 5 times without touching anything. She was unraveling, quietly but completely. I sat at the table, peeling potatoes for dinner while she scrolled through her phone again. Her thumb barely moved, not scrolling, just hovering, waiting. "You want chicken or steak?" I asked. "Whatever you're having." I cooked both. We ate in silence. Her appetite was gone halfway through, and she pushed the rest of the food around her plate. She didn't ask about my day, didn't comment on the dinner, just stared at her fork like it was supposed to give her answers. Then, out of nowhere, she said, "You've been really chill lately." I shrugged. "Trying to be." "That's new." I looked her straight in the eye. "Well, a lot's changed." She blinked. "Right." She got up, dumped her plate in the sink, and walked upstairs. From then on, the change in her was obvious. She started charging her phone in the bathroom instead of the nightstand, started locking her laptop again. She jumped at random noises, garage door, doorbell, even the microwave timer. And me? I stayed steady, made dinner, did the laundry, labeled boxes. I smiled when I had to and stayed quiet when I didn't. But inside, I was just waiting for her to implode, because her little illusion, this smooth, clean exit she thought she'd get, that was over. It was a Thursday night. I was at the sink scrubbing a pan when I heard her footsteps behind me, faster than usual. She stopped just short of the counter. "Tom," she said, tight and clipped. "Do you know about Mark?" I didn't turn around right away. I kept rinsing the pan, dried it with a towel, then set it on the rack. Then I looked at her. "Yeah," I said. Her face went pale. "I've known for a while." She blinked fast. "So, what? You've been spying on me?" I didn't answer that. I didn't have to. She already knew. Her voice rose. "Have you been telling people? Is that what this is about?" Still calm, still steady. "You didn't cover your tracks as well as you thought." She stepped back like I'd slapped her. "Jesus, Tom, are you serious right now?" "I'm serious," I said, folding the towel. She started pacing. "You don't get to act like some kind of victim when you've clearly been trying to sabotage me behind my back." I leaned against the counter, arms crossed. "I didn't sabotage anything. I just stopped protecting your lie." She shook her head, jaw tightening. "You don't know the full story." "No," I said, walking over to the drawer. I opened it slowly, pulled out a folder, and set it on the counter. "Because I've got the receipts, the Venmo history, your old planner, and the emails you thought were private." Her eyes dropped to the folder like it was ticking. "You went through my stuff? You cheated in my house." She flinched at that. No comeback, no witty spin. The silence dragged. Then she grabbed the folder and flipped it open. I didn't stop her. First page, Venmo screenshots. Second, printout of her email to Mark where she called me a ghost in her life. Her hands started shaking. "This wasn't supposed to happen like this," she mumbled. "No," I said. "You were supposed to walk out clean. No questions, no mess. Just disappear and hope I'd be too stunned to dig." "I wasn't trying to hurt you," she snapped, eyes glassy now. I felt alone, Tom, for a long time." "You told him that, not me." She opened her mouth, then shut it. "I tried," she finally whispered. "No, Aaron, you planned." She looked like she wanted to argue, but there was nothing left to fight with. She'd been exposed from every angle. I watched the panic creep in, eyes darting, chest rising and falling too fast. She grabbed the edge of the island to steady herself. "What are you going to do with this?" "Nothing," I said. "You already did the damage." Her voice cracked. "You told my mom?" "I didn't have to." I walked past her, picked up the folder, and tucked it back in the drawer. "You're just going to stand there like you're better than me?" she asked, voice sharper now, almost desperate. "Number. I'm just done playing dumb." She looked like she was going to cry, scream, or throw something, but she didn't do any of that. She just stood there, helpless. And that's when I knew it was over. Not just the marriage, the game, her control, her mask. It was all gone. I didn't say another word, just walked out of the kitchen, down the hall, and into the guest room. I shut the door behind me and didn't look back. The next morning, I packed up what was left. Toolbox, clothes, laptop, a few old photos. I left the bed frame, the dresser, even the damn coffee maker, just enough behind so she'd notice what was missing. I didn't say goodbye. I dropped the keys on the kitchen counter, walked out the front door, and didn't look back. The new apartment was nothing special. Third floor, no elevator, smelled like paint and dust. But it was mine. No joint accounts, no shared closets, no conversations that felt like landmines. Just silence. And for the first time in months, it felt good. I set up the basics that first weekend. A twin bed, a folding table, one chair. Kept the windows open all day. Let the air strip everything clean. A few weeks passed before I heard from her. Her name lit up on my phone one Sunday morning. Just a text. "I'm sorry. I never meant to hurt you. I hope you're okay." No follow-up, no phone call, just that. I stared at the screen for maybe 5 seconds, then deleted it. A couple days later, I ran into Sadie again outside a gas station. She didn't waste time. "You know she and that guy broke it off, right?" she said, voice low. "Whole thing blew up. People are talking." I nodded once. "Yeah? Apparently he's married. His wife found out. It got messy fast. I didn't ask for more. I didn't care. Aaron's perfect exit had turned into a slow collapse, and I wasn't part of it anymore. I'd already walked out of the fire. I got back in my truck, drove off, and turned up the radio. No bitterness, no anger, just air, space, peace.